a lot of things have changed over the last 10 years, and it's been very difficult since the whole COVID thing for bands to really navigate around things like touring costs or even availability
Oh,
of
yeah.
equipment. And how have you both been able to navigate this and get through a lot of the difficulties, when it comes to, cost of touring, being able to get gigs? Has it been difficult for you, or, because, Udo, you've had a name for a long time, maybe it's not as difficult for you, but just out of curiosity, how have you had to navigate through that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, of course, in a way, I'm lucky. I mean, we can still tour worldwide. And of course, I mean, the costs are exploding since, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and especially for younger bands, I think it's not so easy anymore, to go on tour. I mean, so I mean, yeah, I do this for so long, and I mean, of course, I mean, I have a huge catalog, so that means, in a way, I don't have this problem as a new band, money-wise also.
Right.
I mean, we are, in a way, for us, it's a little bit easier than for a young band, I mean, it's I think very difficult to survive in this business now. I mean, it's also like yeah, how in the 80s you was selling a lot of records, so you can make a living of your publishing stuff like that. And
Yeah.
now selling CDs, if you are really already on the high point, is if you are selling already 30,000 or 40,000 copies, where it's like, wow. And yeah, now they make the money on tour and merchandising. That's a thing where you can make money as a new band. But I think we are lucky in a way. I mean, of course, I'm long enough in this business, and yeah, for us, it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just tried to stay busy during COVID. I mean, that was the time when we had
Oh,
time to write new music and work on new stuff. And yeah, but as my dad said, I mean, and we are in a position as a band where we are lucky enough to we had only to reschedule things. We had to shift plans basically,
Yeah.
But for a band that came up right before COVID, that's absolutely a killing point for sure, because you have to stay on the road the whole time to being able to even, yeah, if you want to make a living out of it, then this is really really complicated nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would 100% agree. And, it's like, I think too, Udo, being around for as long as you have been, you've experienced so much. It's a lot easier to make decisions because you have a lot of experience having to do that. Even before COVID, I mean, the music business, even go back for 40 years, is difficult. So, I mean,
yeah.
you still have a lot of things. If you had to give advice to a new band, like, what is the, like, one of the things you would tell them that they should
Oh,
do?
first of all, I say believe in what you're doing. That's also a very important thing,
Hmm.
And then also in a way, you need now in this now in with all this downloading and with social media stuff, you need some concept to do. I think that you stick out of some bands. I
Yeah.
think it's not easy, but for me, it's still, that was my thing to say, okay, I believe what I'm doing and I want to do it. Okay, it's I was lucky. I met the right people at the right time. You need also, yeah, also luck, to do something. I mean, I know a lot of bands during my whole career, they were really, really good, and I thought, wow, they're getting definitely
Right.
big, and after, I mean, I don't know, 1 year, you hear nothing of them anymore.
Yeah.
It is sometimes happen. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky. I met the right people at the right time, and
Hmm.
I mean, this is the only advice I can give. Believe what you are doing, and that's the thing.
Yeah. I would say too that the one thing that I've always noticed about you over the years is that no matter how big, your band may have gotten, you always work very hard at what you are doing. And you
Yes.
never, because I think what happens and I see this a lot, some bands will think, okay, I have a record deal. I have a publicist. They think it's like this golden ticket to where they don't have to work
Yeah.
anymore. But, again,
No.
when you see guys like yourself, or I see a lot of the people that, your contemporaries and people that, other bands that came out of, your era, you all still work very hard at
Oh
what you are
yeah.
doing. You're not sitting back not doing anything. You're doing interviews, you're going out and playing shows, and you're grinding out like you did 40, 50 years ago. And I think that I think that's a big reason why you are still where you are, is that you put
Yeah.
the work in to do it.
Yeah, maybe sometimes, some bands, they think already what you said, having a record deal and maybe
Yeah.
doing some shows and they're already rock stars. Yeah, I don't think so. It's a lot of work, to do something in this business and keep going, and that means, keep going, working. So I mean, for one example is like, I mean, yeah, we was putting America for a long time away, like I said, yeah, maybe we are coming, maybe not. But now, I mean, we try to get into the market again in America, and I
Yeah.
tell you, this is not so easy. This
No.
is really hard work. But we will see. I mean, I believe in that, and it will be also happen in America again. I believe in that.
Yeah, America's always difficult because of how big it is. And you've toured over here. You get it. You have most of your shows on the East Coast, Midwest. Then you got to travel all the way across the country where nothing exists. Maybe you play one
Yeah.
show and then you go to the West Coast. And it's a difficult thing. And it's always been difficult for German heavy metal bands to even come here. I mean, you really have to make an investment
Yeah.
and play a lot to be able to even be seen. Like for example, if I look at your history, you guys had, I think, a few albums out before Balls to the Wall to really
Yes.
break it here. If you look at the
Yeah.
Scorpions had 5 records come out here before they really ended up being really successful. And when I say 5
Yes.
albums, those 5 albums were, they were, they were, they were 5 records after Uli Roth wasn't in the band, right?
Yes.
So it took 5 albums to really get them to really some prominence and get known. And I think that from Germany, for whatever reason, it always feels like it's harder for bands to play audiences here from over there. But it seems like South America, Latin America, Europe. I mean, you guys obviously, you'll play some pretty big shows, but the U.S. does take some investment to get in here.
Yeah. I mean, but you need also some, how you said it, you need some balls also to do this, playing clubs for maybe 200 people.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, of course, I can say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I do just South America and Europe and Japan and go to Australia. No, I mean, this is like, I really want to do this, and really want to see how far we can go again in America, and
Yeah.
also Canada. But Canada is also, I think, a little bit better for us than America. America is a really hard market. But I
It
believe in
really
that.
depends on where you are. I mean, it really depends on where you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be somewhere in the middle of America and there are 50 people showing up, and then you go to the West Coast and play there, and you play in front of 300, or Chicago or something like that. It's a very good market for us.
Yeah.
It's so different, but I mean, I think we see it as it's a big challenge to put something like this together, and we were really happy that we did it, because challenges, we take it as opportunities. And as my dad said, I mean, he obviously is not done, and
Yeah.
No.
and you gotta grab that, because I mean, who's saying that at that age, that he has still power and energy and the will to go into something like that. So it would be a shame if nobody's really trying to achieve something there, you know.
Yeah. Well, the few and the proud are doing it as long as he is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I said, I
Yeah.
remember, I always mention Biff because he's in that same, he came up in that same era, man. It's like I go see Saxon and Sven. You obviously know that band very well, man. To see that guy go out there and perform still,
Yeah.
72 years old. I mean, there's guys, the generation, and then you have the generation after Udo that kind of came a little bit after you. Those guys are like in their late 50s, early 60s, and they're still going out. So there's
Yes.
something to be said to be motivated to continue to do what you are doing for as long
Yeah.
as you have. And I think that it's something if I'm a band and I'm starting out, man, I want to last as long as Udo has. I mean, think about it, so but yeah, it's interesting that we bring up the US market because for a lot of German heavy metal bands, it has taken many of them a long time to be able to come here, and it took a lot of shows
Yeah.
playing in front of small rooms, playing in small rooms to really build the fan base here.
But I think it's also like in America, you cannot say, okay, I come over there for, I don't know, 8 or 10 shows. We did, I don't know, 26 or whatever. And it was not still enough, to do this. I mean, and you have to come then nearly every year and keep going, Otherwise, if you come and then you say, okay, maybe in 3 years I come back again, forget it. It's not working for the American market, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen bands do that. They'll think they'll test the waters. Let's play 4 or 5 shows there. You really have to play. If you're really going to tour the U.S., you got to be here at least a month.
Definitely.
And I think to really, some bands can get away with not doing that, but some, I've seen some bands now coming. They'd come play, 6 or 7 shows, turns into 15 shows. Next time they come, they play 20 some shows. But then you start seeing the weird crowds, like you play 500 people and then go to Los Angeles, pay to 1,000 or 2,000. It's just, it's such a weird country because in Europe it's different. You go to each country and the distances are smaller. You're in a different country, that might get a couple shows. And that's like the big thing for that entire country is that, you go to, France, you play a couple shows there. I mean, you're like huge, like all the people that are like you are going to go to those 2 shows, and it's a shorter distance. And, Germany probably can play to more rooms being from there, but it's a little bit of a different thing in Europe. It's a little more cost effective in Europe compared to the US.
You gotta take the opportunities to play the small venues as well, because if you're going from A to B in America, only want to play the big ones, it's just not affordable because you'll be on the road for 3 days without earning any money.
Pretty much.
That doesn't work. So
I got you. Definitely, pretty much. Well, gentlemen, I got to be honest. I had a lot of fun. It was actually really great to have both of you on this show. And to be honest, Udo, big props to you for doing this as long as you have and being able to endure decades of insanity, playing music. I mean, because it's a lot to deal with, but to have the intensity and the motivation, I have to say to you that in all seriousness, it's something to admire that people like yourself and the guys that have been doing this, in guys and gals that have been doing this as long as you have. It's longevity, man. I'll tell you, you're one of the few and the proud, and it's still nice to see you going after all this time.
Well, thank you very much.
Sven, great to be able to talk to you as well. And
likewise, thank you.
And I think you guys did a tremendous job re-recording this record, going through the process of all these singers, getting them on board, getting them to be able to record all of their parts, to get them to sound good on these songs. I think that the amount of work that had to be crazy to be able to do that.
A lot of work, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, hey,
Thank you.
any last words for any fans that will be checking out this interview?
What can I say? I mean, hopefully, we also come over with the Boards to Reward Reloaded 40 years anniversary on do the tour in America. We are working already on this, but first we have to do a 2 month tour here in Europe, and it's, I mean, already so many shows are sold out, and yeah, and then we're working on America again, and hopefully we can make it.
Absolutely. Can't wait to come back and stay
Oh,
tuned
yeah.
for more info soon.
Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.